Adults and children alike can definitely cultivate the ability to be more socially and situationally aware. This is why at the Akada Children's Book Festival 2020, we are bringing you an opportunity to learn about developing emotional intelligence in children. My name is Joyce Daniels, and I present to you John Asiegbu in this session. John Asiegbu is an emotional intelligence aficionado. He works with individuals, families, and organizations to maximize and achieve their goals by leveraging the power of emotional intelligence. John graduated from the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Ondo State, and has an MBA in Organizational Behavior from Eastern Mediterranean University in Cyprus. John is the author of 3 books, a sought-after public speaker, and the lead consultant at Evlos Consulting.
Hello parents, guardians and teachers. I trust you're enjoying the Akada Festival so far. My name is John Asiegbu. I am Africa's leading emotional intelligence expert. I help individuals, families and organizations to maximize potential and reach peak performance leveraging on the power of emotions. I like to say that emotional intelligence is not a soft skill, it is not a hard skill. It's not a life skill, it is life itself. Because every human engagement, activity or interaction has an emotional element to it. And today we are looking at developing emotional intelligence in children. This is a subject that interests me so much because we are ultimately creatures of emotions. And for children, it is crucial for them, especially in the complex world that we live in today. So how can you develop emotional intelligence in your child? First, you need to help the child learn emotional literacy. What do I mean by this? There are certain words you have to expose your children to. Nobody is born emotional literate. You have to learn about emotions. So you need to begin to teach your children about words like anger, sadness, depression, happiness, because they need to get familiar with these words and the meaning, just the same way you teach your child other words in the dictionary, because it is critical for them to know these words. You cannot deal with what you cannot recognize, identify, or define. So it is important that your children are emotionally literate as they learn other courses like the mathematics, physics in school and what have you. They must also learn about emotions. So what does it mean to be angry? What does it mean to be sad? What does it mean to be depressed? What does it mean to be frustrated? They need to know these things because it is a very crucial part of their life and the things that they are going to face in the future. Also, you must help your child to be emotionally aware. What does this mean? Ask your child open questions like, how are you feeling? When your child comes back from home from school, you ask your child, how was school today? How do you feel about your activities in school today? This helps the child to look inward, to get in tune with his or her feeling and be able to describe them. This is how the child becomes emotionally aware. After a while, when you do this, then the child can do it independently without your input. Not just about the child, it is also important that you teach your child to learn to be emotionally aware for other people. So your child should be able to recognize an angry person. Your child should be able to recognize a happy person. Your child should be able to recognize someone who is sad. This helps the child to be generally knowledgeable about his emotions and what is happening around his or her environment. And what this will do for that child is that it will equip the child and prepare the child for the complexities of the environment. You see, you cannot take away the place of emotions in human interaction. So when your child gets to school, your child will meet other students from different backgrounds, experiencing different things, who will behave in certain ways. So your child needs to be able to identify what emotions other people are experiencing and the emotions that he or she is also experiencing. Because basically, the definition of emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and acknowledge your emotions and those of the people around you, and leveraging on these for growth and productivity. So it is important for your child to be able to be aware of his or her emotion and the emotion of people around him or her. Now, to the critical part, there are different types of emotions. There are 6 primary emotions, and then there are derivative of those emotions. We have happiness, sadness, we have fear, we have anger, we have disgust, and then we have surprise. Now, you need to be able to help your child understand these emotions and the secondary emotions like love, like joy, like depression, like frustration, like anxiety. Because it is important for your child to be able to separate the difference between the meanings of these emotions. Now, there are unfriendly emotions and there are friendly emotions. Friendly emotions like joy, like happiness. And then there are unfriendly emotions. Some people call it negative emotions, but in reality, there's really no negative emotion, because an emotion is just your body giving you a message. What you do with the message is what is important. So anger is just your body alerting you that something is not working, and then all you need to do is fix what is not working. The same thing, sadness is just your body's alarm system telling you something is not right. All you need to do is identify what is not right and fix it. So your child needs to be able to identify emotional triggers for unfriendly emotion. This is very critical for teaching your child emotional intelligence and social awareness. Your child should be able to identify triggers such as, for some children, they don't like being cheated or seeing somebody else being cheated. So your child may go to school and see one child cheating another child, maybe taking the child's biscuits or something, and then react by hitting the child who is cheating the other child. Now, the trigger for your child in that sense is cheating. He doesn't like being cheated. Some children don't like being shouted at. So you need to help your child to be able to identify triggers so that when those triggers occur, because truth is, it will happen. As a human being, you will experience unfriendly emotions. Anybody who has never been angry is not human. If you are human, you will experience these emotions. But you need to know your triggers so that when they occur, you know how to manage them. Failure to identify your triggers is just like exposing yourself in the deep. So if your child is able to know that when I am shouted out, it gets me angry, or when someone is being cheated around me, it gets me angry, or when, let's say, the electricity goes off, I feel sad. Those are triggers. And as simple as it sounds, it goes a long way, because ultimately what this means is that these triggers can determine the child's emotional state and ultimately the child's emotional reaction. So a typical example is a child who sees another child being cheated and then decides to hit the person cheating the other child. Now, a problem has been created, because then he may have hurt the child, or she may have hurt that child who she or he hit, and then a problem has been created. So it is important for you to help your child to identify their triggers. Over time, they'll be able to spot these triggers even before they occur. So when someone is being cheated, the child is already aware. So he's already preparing for that trigger and ultimately learns how to alter the trigger, which takes me to the next point: coping mechanisms. You must help your child develop emotional coping mechanisms. Like I said, as humans, we experience emotions. If you don't experience emotions, it means you're not living. So what do you need to do when these emotions occur? How do you manage, especially the unfriendly ones? For the friendly emotions, you just have fun. When you're happy, everything goes good, right? Everyone is happy. Positive emotions do not have negative impact. So there's really not much need to dwell on that. But for the unfriendly emotions like anger, like depression, like sadness, and I would like to pause and say that statistics has it, according to WHO, that 1 out of every 12 children has experienced depression by the age of 14. Now, this is a very massive number if you look at it critically. And so it is important that children are taught emotional intelligence for them to be able to survive the world that we're in now. Truth is this: children of today, because of the time that they were born, are not able to get in tune with their emotions at an early stage, and this exposes them to a lot of depression. This explains the reason for the high rate of suicide we have today. Compare the rate of suicide we have today to what we had about 20 years ago, you realize that there's a lot of gap. And part of the reason is because what we have today are children who are not in tune with their emotions. Thus, the need for critical teaching and learning of emotional intelligence, both for the parents and for the children. So, your child must be able to learn coping mechanisms. So, e.g., when your child is angry, what can your child do? Your child can count 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3. By the time your child is counting, what happens is this. There is an allowance for a dialogue within the emotional brain and the thinking brain of the child. So the brain is split into two parts. You have your thinking brain, that's where you process information, and you have your emotional brain, that's where you feel. So emotional intelligence is basically the interaction between your emotional brain and your thinking brain. But what happens is this: when an information comes in from your 5 senses, it goes first to your emotional brain. So when your child counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it helps the child to allow for that information to go to his or her thinking brain so that it is processed properly, so the child makes a better and informed decision. Also, your child can be taught to squeeze a ball with soft ball, hold the bed, hold something just to release that energy. Because emotions are like electricity. It's an actual force. And many times it just wants to be dissipated. So when you squeeze a ball, it helps you to calm down. That's for a child. You can also help your child to write. Tell the child, have a journal, have a pen. When you're angry or you're sad, just write. And when you write, there's a flow of energy from your hand to the pen and to the paper that helps you calm down, at least momentarily. This is very, very important. Something else you can teach your child to do is to run around the house, go play football, just to dissipate energy. Because this is what happens when we experience unfriendly emotions like anger. The body prepares for what is called the fight or flight response. That is the defense mechanism of the body to respond to threat. So anger is a signal that there is trouble. And so the body prepares a lot of things. There's an energy rush when an unfriendly emotion exists. So the child needs to dissipate that energy in some way. So one of the ways is also to go sporting, running, or playing football, doing something that will help the child let the energy out. All right? I hope this really helps you, because this is critical for us to be able to help our children develop emotional intelligence. They cannot exist successfully in the world that we live in today with all the complexities if they don't have emotional intelligence. But this is the bigger truth. You are the first model of your child, so you cannot give what you don't have. And this is why I'm talking to you as a parent. You yourself need to learn emotional intelligence, because you can't teach your child emotional intelligence if you're not emotionally intelligent. Luckily, I just published a book some months ago titled Raising Generation Z, and it's basically how to help parents connect with and influence their children, leveraging on the power of emotional intelligence. And that is a book that I think every parent should read, because, like I said earlier, you cannot give what you don't have. Every parent today that has a child that is born from 1997 till date must actually go and take a course on emotional intelligence, because it is even more difficult to connect with these children now than it was for our parents to connect with us, because of the uniqueness of the time that they were born in. And I would advise that parents begin to equip themselves in these areas. If you would like to learn emotional intelligence, I'm here to help you. My website is Asiegbu.com, www.johnasiegbu.com. You can join me on social media, Instagram at John Asiegbu, Facebook John Asiegbu. And I'm willing to help you as a parent, equip you and prepare you to be able to connect with your children and influence them. Because all I've said so far cannot be useful to you if you cannot connect with your child. So it is important that you as a parent learn to be emotionally intelligent, and that way you can also teach your child these things. I hope I've been able to help you to help your child develop emotional intelligence. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the Akada Festival. And I'd like to answer by first saying that we all have an emotional bank. Every individual has an emotional bank. And per time, your emotional bank can be in credit or in debit. So what that means is this. For every engagement you experience really at work, it's either that your emotional bank is being credited or it's being debited. Now, because you understand, just the same way you manage your funds every month, that you have children at home and they depend on you emotionally, you have to manage your emotions at work and in other spaces so that when you get home, you still have some credit in your emotional bank to attend to your children. This is just very true because your children depend on you emotionally. You cannot avoid that. Now, are there times when just sometimes you go broke, like your account gets empty? Yeah, there'll be times when your emotional bank will also be empty. And at these times, what you need to do is just calmly, very critical, look your children in the eyes with a smile, the last smile you have on your face, and say, I'm very tired. Can we talk later? Children are very, very responsive. They are sensitive to emotions, especially when you communicate it effectively. What we find is parents who just shout at their children, please leave me alone, I'm not interested in this now. Can't you see I just got back? That really doesn't work. What that does is that you push your child away and your child begins to look for alternative sources of emotional support. I'm sure you don't want that. So in that case, you just calmly explain to your child, I'm tired right now. Can we just have this conversation later? Or can you just keep it low? They will understand, I'm sure, because they also get tired and they know what it feels like. I hope this helps. I like to tell parents that you have to grow with your child. So if your child is 3 years old, you have to be 3 years old. When your child turns 5, you have to become 5. When your child turns 10, you have to become 10. When your child turns 15, you have to become 15. What does that mean? The mistake many parents make is they look at a 16-year-old child and they are still looking at that child with the eye of when they gave birth to the child. A lot has changed. So what happens is this: the interest of a 3-year-old child is different from the interest of a 16-year-old child. And parents forget this. What is the fastest way? Get connected with the interest of that child. What does this child like to talk about? What does this child like to do? If, for instance, you watch a music video or maybe a fashion video on social media with a 17, 16-year-old child, it probably will help that child feel comfortable around you. The same way, if you play football with a 10, 11, 13-year-old child, the child will naturally feel comfortable around you. So it's not rocket science. But unfortunately, parents get carried away. Of course, not carried away, but they get busy with responsibilities so that they don't create times for these connection activities. So you cannot assume that the child will be interested in what you'll be interested in. You have to find what interests the child, and at that point, you definitely connect. And when you connect, then you'll be able to influence the child. Because without connection, there cannot be influence. And so if you want to be able to have a conversation with your child, the question is, have you been able to understand what interests the child? Start from there. Even if you want to take them somewhere that they are not familiar with, start with where they are. So I tell parents that if you are a parent today and you are not on social media, I don't know how you're going to relate to your children successfully. Because they spend at least 12 hours there. Go and check. Watch your children carefully, especially when they are not in school. They spend a minimum of 12 hours. So the conversations they'll be having, the things that will interest them, are things that are happening there. So you need to go there, know what's happening there, discuss that with them, and if at all you want to take them away from there, then you can start from there to influence them. I hope this helps. So, e.g., a child wants a new toy, and you don't have the resources to provide that toy at the time. And then you have told the child, but the child is displaying certain reactions that are not so good. First, you need to understand that the reactions are okay because the child is not happy. Then what you need to do is to reassure the child. It is one thing for you to just, I don't have money for that now. Many times, it's not about what we say. It is about how we say it. It is very critical. Many parents just assume because this is my child, I can talk to the child anyhow. Your child is a human being with emotions. So it is more about how you say what you say than what you actually say. So there's a way you tell your child that, oh, there, I can't get you this toy now because of where we are financially. We'll get it at some other time, I promise you. And that's different from, don't disturb me, I don't have money. You get two different reactions from that child, trust me. So it is mostly about how we communicate these things. And that's why parents themselves need to learn emotional intelligence, because when a child is in a bad mood, you don't shout at someone who is already in a bad mood. Or you don't even shout at someone at all, because many times the moment you are shouted at, you become defensive. It is natural instinct, including for us adults. So don't do to your child what you cannot take yourself. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned a thing or two. I hope to connect with you a little more. Keep enjoying the Akada Book Festival. Have fun.
Clear communication is indeed a very necessary tool when fostering socially, situationally, or emotionally aware children. Speaking about being aware, we want you to know that there are great books and amazing artworks to browse through at this festival. The Clever Clogs app is also available on the Google Play Store. The app is perfect for children aged 2 to 6, teaching them how to tell the time, colors, and shapes. From time to time, free books are also added to the app, so check out this new app and enjoy all the goodness that we have thereon. Please give us your feedback and we will use this feedback to make the app even better. Also get your certificates of attendance by clicking on the button that says Certificates and then fill the form. This year at Akada Children's Book Festival, themed Light of the World, Share a Story could not have been put together without the support of our partners. We would like to say a big thank you to Flutterwave, NLNG, Upbeat, Children's International School, Living Fountain Seeds of Hope School, Wazobia FM, Cloud Studio, Cray Beats, Corporate Dance World, and others. We also give a shout out to the Association of Children's Authors and Illustrators of Nigeria, which is a recently formed organization focused on the growth of this vital industry. You can find out more about Akane by sending an email to hello@akane.org.
Everyone, my name is Chema Mera, aka Chigol, and welcome to Gigglebox on the Akada Children's Book Festival. Yes, we're going to be giggling, so let's get started. Why can't you give Elsa a balloon? Remember Elsa? Why can't you give Elsa a balloon? Because she will just let it go, let it go. That's why you can't give Elsa a balloon. What did the 0 say to the 8? Think about it. What did the 0 say to the 8? The 0 said, 8, nice belt. Aha. Get it? Get it? Get it?
What does the path to success in your online business look like? What are the ingredients needed to succeed in selling online? Here's the obvious hint. You need the Flutterwave store. Here are the ingredients you need to succeed. Great product images, responsive layout, default payments integration, instant notifications, fast checkout, and even delivery. You can create a store for your business for free and start selling in 5 minutes or less. Step 1. Visit www.flutterwave.com/store and click on Set up your store for free. Step 2. Complete the sign-up form and click Get Started. Step 3. Check your email inbox for verification mail and click on the link. Select how you want to accept payments. Step 4. Click on Store in the side menu of your admin panel, fill in the details, and take it online. Step 5. Add products and start selling. The Flutterwave Store.
Gotta find out.
Come straight to the woods. Come straight to the woods. Come straight to the woods. Come back, come back, come back. There's a wolf, hyena, lion in the woods. Wolf, hyena, lion in the woods. Wolf, hyena, lion in the woods. Come back, come back, come back. I'm a friend, come to me. I know your parents, come to me.